Look, we all know the Philadelphia Eagles have a roster built to hoist another Lombardi trophy. We see the talent, we feel the hype, and we know the expectations in Philly are always championship or bust. But as minicamp officially kicks off, we have to look ourselves in the mirror and address the glaring question marks on this roster. They aren't massive holes, but in the NFL, the smallest crack can shatter a Super Bowl dream. Right now, it's all about the trenches, specifically the interior offensive line. If things go sideways here, the season goes sideways. Before we dive deep into the film and the front office's thinking, do me a quick favor, hit that subscribe button, smash the like, help us hit our goal of 3,000 subscribers, and tell me in the comments, do you trust our guard depth? Fly Eagles. Fly, let's get into it. Now, let's get right to the heart of the matter. When you look at the guard position, Landon Dickerson and Tyler Steen are your projected starters. But the name echoing through the halls of NovaCare Complex right now is a very familiar one. We are talking about a potential reunion with an old friend, Mekhi Becton. Yes, Becton. The Eagles actually displayed a massive vote of confidence in Tyler Steen this offseason by not signing Becton when he was released by the Chargers, and by completely bypassing the interior offensive line on the first 2 days of the NFL Draft. They wanted to send a message to Steen: this is your job to lose. And make no mistake about it, it absolutely is Steen's job to lose. He is the starting right guard, and as we sit here today, he is essentially unchallenged for that role. But here is the catch. Even if the Eagles believe Steen is fine at right guard, fine isn't always enough when you're chasing a ring. This minicamp is monumental for Steen. He has to prove to Jeff Stoutland and the coaching staff that they don't need to pick up the phone and bring in a veteran like Becton to challenge him or rescue the depth. But the reality is, behind Dickerson and Steen, the cupboard is incredibly bare. We are talking about an alarming lack of proven depth. If one of those two guys goes down, the entire blueprint for this offense changes. That is why Becton's shadow looms so large over this entire minicamp. The front office is watching, Stoutland is watching, and Becton is sitting out there as the ultimate insurance policy. It's the ultimate tightrope walk for Steen. He's got the keys to the car, but the rearview mirror is showing a massive presence ready to take the wheel if he slips up even once during these physical practices. Think about the stakes here. One bad snap, one missed assignment, and the conversation changes instantly. Behind Dickerson and Steen, the Eagles are rolling with Drew Kendall, Micah Morris, Holland Pierce, and Willie Lampkin. Here is the kicker. Not a single one of these guys has played a single regular season snap at guard in the National Football League. Not one. That is a terrifying reality for a team with Super Bowl aspirations. This is why this minicamp is absolutely massive for guys like Willie Lampkin and Holland Pierce. Remember, the Eagles claimed an injured Lampkin off waivers from the Rams last year, showing they saw something in him. Pierce, on the other hand, fought tooth and nail last summer, impressing the coaching staff enough to earn a coveted spot on the practice squad as an undrafted free agent. Now the training wheels are completely off. Lampkin is finally healthy and gets his golden opportunity to showcase exactly how much he has developed over the past year under the best offensive line coach in the business. Pierce has that same opportunity to put his growth on display. The performance of these two young developmental players will dictate how the rest of the Eagles' offseason plays out. If they look lost, General Manager Howie Roseman will have no choice but to make a move. This isn't just a standard summer practice. This is a high-stakes audition under the hot Philly sun. Every rep is being graded, every step is being analyzed, and the margin for error is razor thin. If these young guards can't prove they can handle the pressure, the Eagles will have to pivot, and they will have to do it quickly before the regular season kicks off. Because when you're protecting a franchise quarterback, you cannot afford to have a weak link. Not in this division, and certainly not in the playoffs when everything is on the line. Let's peel back another layer on this situation, because my sources are pointing directly to the draft room. The first guard the Eagles actually selected in this year's draft was Micah Morris, and they didn't call his name until the 6th round. Now Morris has a ton of raw potential. There is no denying the physical tools he brings to the table. But let's be realistic. He's a 6th-round rookie. At this stage of the game, he is projected almost entirely as a developmental backup for year one. You cannot, under any circumstances, count on a 6th-round rookie to be your primary savior if things go south on the interior. So, what happens if the injury bug bites? What if Dickerson or Steen has to miss time? Are the Eagles really prepared to roll into a crucial regular season game with Kendall, Lampkin, Morris, or Pierce protecting the pocket? That is the nightmare scenario keeping coaches up at night. And that is exactly why the need for a veteran presence like Mekhi Becton isn't just a luxury. It might be an absolute necessity. Bringing Becton into the mix isn't an indictment on Tyler Steen's talent or his ability to hold down the starting job. It's about building a championship-caliber wall. At the very worst, Becton gives you a proven, battle-tested backup guard who has played in high-leverage NFL games. He brings a level of physical dominance and experience that simply does not exist on the roster behind the starters right now. In this league, you don't just build a starting lineup, you build a room. And right now, that guard room is incredibly top-heavy. When you look at the landscape of the NFC East, you know you're going to face some of the most brutal defensive fronts in football. You need depth that can weather the storm, not just survive it. That is why the front office is keeping a very close eye on the market, ready to pull the trigger if these young guys don't pop during these crucial minicamp sessions. And let's talk about the elephant in the room. Landon Dickerson's injury history is a real factor here. In fact, at this point, his health history is arguably more concerning than Tyler Steen's on-field performance. Dickerson is an absolute stud when he is on the field, a true anchor for this line. But we have to be honest about the physical toll the game has taken on him. Some inside the building have to wonder about the long-term future at the position, knowing that Dickerson could literally be one major injury away from retirement. That is a sobering thought, but it is the brutal reality of the NFL. You have to plan for the worst-case scenario while hoping for the best. This is why the Eagles need to think multiple steps ahead. Look at the roster mechanics right now. The Eagles actually have 2 open roster spots available. One of those spots was uniquely created due to the international player exemption. The flexibility is there. The salary cap space can be managed. There is physical room on this roster to bring in a veteran guard today. And when you look at the free agent board, Mekhi Becton may very well be the best option available to step in and secure this offensive line. It's a move that makes too much sense on paper, but it all hinges on what happens on the practice field this week. If the young guys show they aren't ready for the bright lights, expect the front office to move fast. The Eagles pride themselves on having the most dominant offensive line in football. They won't let that identity slip away because they were too stubborn to add depth. It's about maintaining the standard. At the end of the day, this is what makes Philadelphia Eagles football so special. The margin between a Super Bowl parade down Broad Street and a disappointing exit is incredibly thin. It's decided in the trenches, in the dirt, during hot June practices when nobody is watching but the coaches and the tape. It's about Tyler Steen fighting to prove he belongs in the starting lineup of a championship contender. It's about Willie Lampkin and Holland Pierce trying to seize a life-changing opportunity. And it's about a front office led by Howie Roseman that is always hunting for that extra 1% edge, whether that means keeping the faith in the youth or bringing back an old friend like Mekhi Becton to fortify the fortress. The pressure is on, the pads will soon be popping, and the journey to the Super Bowl starts right now in minicamp. We've seen this team overcome adversity before, and we know Stoutland University always finds a way to produce elite offensive line play. But the questions are real, the stakes are massive, and the answers will define our season. Keep your eyes on those guards, Philly fans. It's going to be a wild ride. Let's see who steps up and wins the battle. Because in Philadelphia, we don't just watch the offensive line. We revere them. They are the heartbeat of this city, the blue-collar engine that drives everything we do on Sundays. We know that if we can control the line of scrimmage, we can control our own destiny. Whether it's Steen rising to the occasion, a young gun shocking the world, or Becton coming in to lock things down, the goal remains exactly the same. We want that ring. We want to feel that confetti falling again. And it all starts with the grind right now. Let's get to work. No excuses, no shortcuts, just pure Philly grit. It's time to build another wall, protect our quarterback, and pave the way to victory. Let's see who wants it more.